So at TYT, we like celebrating progress, and there's some progress out of Saudi Arabia that we're pretty excited about. That is right, Saudi Arabian women will have the right to drive, so that's pretty cool. Saudi Arabia announced that women will be allowed to drive starting next year. According to an announcement from King Salman, women will be allowed to apply for driver's licenses immediately, and the ban will be fully lifted by next summer. So it's not right away, but that's something.
So that's great news, unless you want to get anywhere in Saudi Arabia. Am I right? Huh? No? Okay.
Actually, auto insurance ends up costing a lot more for men.
Oh my God, men are the worst drivers.
Because men are the worst drivers.
We're horrible.
Yeah, they're always like, oh, I want to race my car. Like, come on, really? Like, just.
Yeah, I know.
You're not a NASCAR driver. Like, let's move on with our lives.
Yeah, it's true. You didn't hear about like Miley Cyrus drag racing her car down, Calabasas. It was Justin Bieber, but we live and learn.
Or Saudi princes.
Yeah, exactly. Or Saudi princes. So women took to Twitter to respond to this news. One was Medea Al-Arouche, who was a part of a rebellion in 1990 where women took to their cars and just drove anyway around Riyadh. It was awesome. She said, "We are finally allowed to drive. Congratulations to Saudi women. The will for women to drive has finally come. We, the Saudi women, has the freedom of mobility." Another who spoke out was Manal Al-Sharif, who was caught driving in 2011 and she had to spend 9 days in prison. It's just insane what women had to go through to get this right. She said on Twitter, "Saudi Arabia will never be the same again. The rain begins with a single drop." So you had some poignant responses, and then there were some funny responses too. This was one that I liked that just said, "They see me rolling, they hatin'." And that's actually a GIF that you can play it through of a girl in her car, so that was pretty awesome. Just so that we all know where Saudi Arabia is at, women were only given the right to vote in December of 2015, and there are still guardianship laws that are in place in Saudi Arabia. So there is a ways to go for progress in the country, but this is, the rain does begin with a single drop. This is big news. I'm very excited for this.
Let me speak now for, I'm gonna guess 373 people watching right now. Is it GIF?
I hate that people pronounce it GIF. I mean, I guess people have accepted that, and we have to.
I don't know. I mean,
it doesn't make sense.
You think it's just GIF?
It's GIF.
I say GIF.
I think, and to be fair, I think I read somewhere that the guy who invented the GIF.
That okay.
Yeah, he does pronounce it GIF, and we just stop. It's sort of like Rihanna. Like we call her Rihanna. She is overwhelmingly pronounced her name as Rihanna, and we just like, no, we got it. That's not your name. And we just do that to some things, and I don't know why.
I didn't know that, but I will continue.
It's Rihanna.
I will call it GIF from now on, and it's Rihanna, and I will say Rihanna from now on.
Well, I hope we have a Rihanna story tomorrow, so we can practice.
No, but I think she said it's GIF, right? Like the peanut butter.
No, it is. I think, and I could be wrong, and you guys will let us know in the comment section below. I think the creator of the blah came out and said it was a GIF.
A GIF.
It could be the other way around. It's sort of like tomato, tomato.
I heard you say GIF the first time, then when you told the story, I thought you said GIF again.
I still say GIF.
Okay.
I still say GIF, and I still say Rihanna, and I hate that I do that.
Well,
I hate that I'm a bad person.
We can start a movement now and keep calling it GIF.
I've lived 50 years without ever saying Rihanna's name, I think. So I think I've now said it once.
Hey Ben,
correctly.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome to the magical world of Rihanna.
She's very talented. It doesn't
so we saw the response on Twitter to Saudi Arabian women. What was your response to this news? Do you think it was sort of about time, or were you surprised?
I mean, of course it's about time.
Of course,
that they allow women to drive. I mean, they should have been allowed to drive a long time ago. And so yes, you're right. I should focus on the positive here, which is that there has been some progress. But I can't help but harp on other things that are still in place in Saudi Arabia that really limit the freedoms of these women, including the fact that they're forced to wear complete headdresses. They're not allowed to take their veils off. They're not even allowed to take those veils off if they're eating. They're not allowed to dress for beauty. They're not allowed to be seen with a man who is not a relative. They're not allowed to travel anywhere without permission.
To open a bank account?
They're not allowed to open a bank account.
This all without the husband's permission, husband or father. That's the guardianship law.
Yeah, because these guys are so incredibly insecure that they think giving these women any type of independence is dangerous, So look, for me that represents insecurity among males in their country. And it also says to me that they just don't want these women to be independent in any way. Being allowed to open a bank account without the permission of the men in your life allows you a certain degree of independence, and they don't want that. And so again, great that there's some progress, but hopefully there'll be a fight for more. And I know that the Saudi women are fighters, and they've been fighting on this issue for decades now. And so on to the next. Let's fight for more progress.
And if I'm not mistaken, I mean, then the real absurd inequality and injustice of how adultery is dealt with too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's still, but it's a significant sign. It was a symbol, and I of course instantly worry about, because there'll be a lot of men in Saudi Arabia who
don't want this,
who hate this, right, and see it as a sign of, again, like we see here to some extent, thankfully not to that, not as rigid, but a sense that you're losing control of the privileged world that you lived in. So I'm sure there'll be some awful stories as this change is implemented.
Yeah, but you know what? I learned about the really awesome web community of Saudi Arabian women on the internet. I think that is awesome, and I would never underestimate the emboldened spirit of a woman, and especially when strong women can band together and encourage and support and lift up each other. So this is a small step. It's not anywhere near where it needs to be, but it is exciting.
I think it's not a small step. That's why I say those things. I think it's a really big step. It's not the last step. There need to be 100 more, but it's a pretty big deal.
If you like this video, you probably like independent media. The best way to support independent media, become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.